Hello again and welcome. It's a very quiet Saturday afternoon here and the rugby is on. So what better time for me to show you how to make mince pies, because I'm not really all that interested in rugby. So I am using my shortbread pastry that I've already shown you how to make in many other videos. So if you go back to the apple tart video, I think that's the first time I used it, and you'll find complete instructions on how to make it. But basically it's 6 ounces of plain flour, 4 ounces of butter and 2 ounces of sugar and 1 egg. And I use my food processor. I put the whole lot in together and go, and that's it. So I have some here and I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. I just have a little bit here because I've already filled my pie tin here with some pastry, okay? I did that last night and we had our first batch of mince pies. So the trick with rolling out pastry is it should be cold. It should be from the fridge, because otherwise it just falls apart and breaks apart. And you always want to have plenty of flour on your rolling pin and plenty of flour on your pastry and on your board. So I'm just going to roll it out to about that size there. I'm going to get my cookie cutters. These guys here are great. If you don't have these, they're so cheap, but you have all the different shapes and sizes. So I'm going to use my second size up, and I'm just going to cut out like that. And basically what I do, I'll cut another one here as well. Just pull this to the side. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. I've already buttered the inside of these with just, what I use is the end. I cut a little bit off the butter wrapper, dip it in the butter and rub it around, okay? And then you basically just leave it on the top like that and gently push it in like that. Does that make sense? Put it in and gently pour it in like that, okay? So here's the mince meat that I made in another video maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I did recommend that you leave it to sit for a few weeks, but we just can't wait. And last night I actually used a jar that we had from last year. So you want to give it a little stir, because the moisture tends to settle to the bottom, and just put about a teaspoon of mixture into each little tin. I try to spread out the cherries. I try not to have like 2 cherries in the one bun and none in another. So you'll see it when you're doing it. That's probably a little bit too much in there, so I'll scoop a bit over there. You just keep going like that, and I'll keep doing that, and I'll come back to you. So guys, I have all my pies filled with about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half. Again, if you're not a big mincemeat lover, reduce the amount that you use. You can totally do this to suit yourself, or put extra, whatever suits you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my mixer, but you can totally do this by hand at home. I have 90 grams of butter. I have 90 grams of sugar. And you beat the two of them together until they turn white, okay? So if you don't have a machine, you should get one for Christmas. You can drop lots of hints. But if you don't have a machine and you've no interest in getting a machine, you can do it by hand. Just use a wooden spoon and beat the butter and sugar until they change colour, okay? Which should only take a couple of minutes in a mixer, and I'll be right back. So I brought you a little bit closer because I thought it would be good for you to see into the mixer in here, and you can see that this has changed kind of to a creamy colour, and that's what we're going for, okay? I don't know what that scary looking thing was on the side of there, but never mind. In here I'm going to add 2 eggs, okay? And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of almond essence, which you should be able to get in any supermarket. If you like the really almondy taste, pop another teaspoon in. I love the almondy taste. And I'm also going to add in here 90 grams of ground almonds, okay? but I noticed that the butter is starting to stick to the side of my, the butter and sugar beaten together, sticking to the side of my bowl. So I'm just going to give that a little release so that everything gets mixed up together. Okay? And I put that back on again just for another. You don't want to overbeat almonds. Almonds become very heavy if you overbeat them. So we're just going to beat them on a low mix until they actually come together, which shouldn't take too long. And that should do it. So I can't stress enough about not overbeating the almonds, because you get a very dense frangipane as opposed to just a nice light delicate. So frangipane is basically like a bakewell, but it just sounds fancier, doesn't it? Okay, so let's take this off here and I'll bring you guys back over. Okay guys, you can see it's all come together. There's no lumps of butter or anything in there. I've just stirred it around a little bit with my spatula. And the next step is to just put a little bit onto each one, just to cover them slightly. And don't worry if it's not perfectly covering all the fruit mixture, because that will, see, I'm making a mess. Doesn't matter. Do you think anybody will care whether these look messy or not? These are the nicest mince pies I have ever had. So here's a little secret about mince pies. I actually never liked mince pies until my friend Jenny, hi Jenny, made me these mince pies one Christmas. And I was quite hesitant to try them because I just don't like mince. You know the mince pies you get in the shops? I find the mince meat is very tart, and it actually gives me heartburn. But these little fellas here are amazing. There is no bitterness about them at all. So I'm just trying to use up all of this mixture, spread them out evenly. And I have never gone back to buying mince pies since. So thank you, Jenny, for that. That's the great thing about cooking, isn't it? Like you get all these great tips from friends. And I'm sure there's lots of you out there that also make these mince pies, because you've probably had them here, or Jenny probably gave you some as well. And so it's amazing the chain reaction that we have from making something and giving a gift to somebody. So these are an amazing Christmas present to give to somebody, honestly, because you just cannot get them in the shops. You cannot get them as amazing as these are. And I have a friend whose birthday it is on Monday. Hi John. And every year I give him some mince pies. So these mince pies are for you, John. I hope you enjoy them. I'm going to pop these into an oven quite high, around 180, and I'm going to turn them around after about 6 or 7 minutes. Turn them around because I find one part of my oven heats much faster than the other. Okay, so I'll just pop them in. I'm going to use the lower part of my my AGA oven, because the top one, I made them last night and they just burnt. Well, they didn't burn, but they browned too much, and I don't want them. I want the pastry to be nice and light. I don't really want it to be crisp. Okay, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Here we go, guys. Here's our, sorry about that, the whole house comes falling down. I don't know if you can see how wonderful this is the color you want them. You don't want them too dark, you just want them a nice pale color. So oh, watch yourself there, Maria. So I'm going to try and get one to just come out here. You shouldn't really do that. You should try and let them cool down a little bit, because they will develop their shape a little more. I run the risk of what, Maria? I run the risk of it falling apart because they're just set there. Now, I don't know if you can see into the middle of that. Can you see, Maria? Can you see? Yep, nice and close. You see all the lovely pastry on the bottom there? And then that lovely mince pie, and then that lovely frangipane sweetness on top. Sorry, John, there's going to be one less than a dozen for your birthday because I'm just going to have to eat this one. Anyway, guys, hope you are all having a lovely weekend. I had a great thought just while I was waiting for these guys to cook that, you know, seeing as we're all in lockdown and it's going to end soon, it will end soon, that wouldn't this be a great time to get as much done as we can so that whenever lockdown is over, we can actually spend quality time with people, because it's usually a really busy time of year, getting a lot of things ready, doing a lot of Christmas shopping. So I'm going to try and spend this next week getting as much done as I can, so whenever lockdown lifts, I'm out of here and I'm going to party. Anyway, connecting with people is really important, so I'm just really looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. Hope you get a chance to taste some lovely mince pies with friends soon. God bless.